We are wrapping up week 4 for the month of November. Today is the 24th of November. So let's do a quick rundown on what's been going on in the market. Obviously, we have Thanksgiving in the US, and we are expecting a little bit of a drop in the volume the past few days. It is going to be a little bit of a slow trading week, and market kind of reflects that. Basically, going back to our outlook this week, let's take a look at the Aussie USD here. We're looking at a little bit of resistance coming in at resistance 1 on the weekly pivot. That's about 65.90. That's basically where the market has been capped for this week. We're still below that 66 cents in terms of resistance, so we're still keeping an eye out for that level. And I don't think the market is going to exceed that level today, last day for the week, which is on Friday. The US is going to be open just for a little bit this morning, but that's pretty much it. So for the Aussie USD, we're expecting the market to be flat as it is. And the Euro USD, we are currently fluctuating around 1.09. On the outlook, we did talk a little bit more about that buy side liquidity coming in at 1.0950. That's basically where the market has been capped so far. And currently, if we are looking at it from the hourly time frame, this is currently within a range bound market condition, just hovering around that 1.09 mark on the Euro USD. The pound USD still being capped by that 1.2550 resistance, still being capped by the resistance 1 on the weekly pivot at 1.2570. We have not exceeded or closed above 1.2550, but we are maintaining a range between 1.25 at the very least. It has already closed above 1.25. It is going to be a range bound between 1.25 and 1.2550 as we wrap up the week. This is the current projection on the pound USD at this point in time. And moving on to the dollar Japanese yen. This is the dollar Japanese yen. We have bounced off from that 148 support level. This is bounced off the Ichimoku cloud just as per our outlook this week, but we're not looking at any strong momentum to the upside. Price is just hovering around the 149 mark at this point in time. So I think the close for this week, it'll be great if it can close above that 149 mark. That way, going forward into next week, we could expect the dollar Japanese yen to gain a little bit more towards that 150 level, 151, and eventually back towards that 152 level. So the current condition for the dollar Japanese yen, this one here is still intact. The uptrend is still intact, and that's basically what we are going to be eyeing out for. Now let's do a quick recap on the dollar index here. The dollar index has moved on to our support area between 103 to 103.50. This is where the index is currently finding support, so we do expect this one here to bounce off a little bit. We might potentially see a return towards 1.10450, but it's going to be a little bit tough for it to kind of recover all the way up to 105. Last thing to take a note for this week would be gold, and as we mentioned in the outlook, we don't expect price to exceed 2,000, and that's basically where the market is currently being capped for gold here. This one here is in a very tight range bound market condition. Overall, we did see a little bit of a progress though. We bounce off the weekly pivot and go all the way up to the resistance 1 pivot on the weekly pivot there, but that's currently where price is currently being traded, so it's currently obeying what the pivot is portraying at this point in time. Now if we take a look at gold on the smaller time frame, let me just get the chart here, so we can see that this is currently within the Ichimoku cloud. It's kind of borderline, because if price is just hovering around the current price level, and it's going to be flat. If it's hovering below 1996, then it's likely going to transition back below the Ichimoku cloud, and that's probably cue for further drop to the downside, potentially back towards that 1985 1980 level on gold. In terms of resistance to the upside, we're still very likely going to be capped by 2000. So again, going back to the outlook this week, we don't expect crazy movement. We don't expect price to break below 1950. We don't expect price to break above 2000 at this point in time. It's really hard for gold to break above 2000 unless the geopolitical tension in Gaza kind of intensifies. That could be a driver for it, but at this point in time, with the ceasefire agreement and whatnot, I don't think there's a lot to worry about. But yeah, in terms of key levels, we're still going to be eyeing that for that 2000 resistance. To the downside, we're still going to be looking at strong support at 1950. In between, we could potentially be looking at a little bit of a weaker support coming in about 1985 to 1980. So that's pretty much it for for this week, it is going to be a little bit of a quieter trading week just because Thanksgiving in the US. I think there's a lot of traders are actually going to be away for this week and over the weekend as well. It might be a slow return on Monday to the office as well. But yeah, those are going to be the ranges, and these are going to be the range that we are still going to be monitoring up until next week. But again, I'll follow up with an update on Monday. Everyone, have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe.